From the time we were little kids in science class, we've all had this one specific number drilled into our heads. 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the magic number. It's the golden standard for the human body. As long as our internal thermostat stays right there, we are golden. We feel great. We can run, we can work, and we can live our lives without a second thought. But here is the weird part, the absolute paradox that drives me crazy. When the weatherman says the temperature outside has hit 98 degrees, which is literally the exact same temperature as our bodies, we don't feel normal, not even close. We start feeling suffocated. We get sluggish, sticky, and miserable. Our energy tanks, and honestly, nobody can stand being around us. So, the question that keeps me up at night is this. Why does 98 degrees feel like an absolute oven when it is technically who we are on the inside? Hey everyone, welcome back to Night Question. If you're new to the squad, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out when we dive into life's weirdest mysteries. To really crack this code, we first need to understand where this 98.6 number actually came from. I mean, think about it. How did we decide that was the norm? Did some guy just poke a hole in his stomach and shove a thermometer in there? And why isn't the perfect number 95 or 104? The truth is, this factory setting for human health was established over 150 years ago. We have to go back to the mid-19th century, specifically to a German physician named Dr. Karl Wunderlich. Now, Karl wasn't just guessing. This guy was obsessed with data. Over the course of 18 years, he took the temperature of more than 25,000 patients, and he didn't just check them once. He took over 1 million individual readings. By 1868, after crunching all that massive data, he gave us the standard we still use today. The average human body temperature is approximately 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Since Karl's time, we've learned a lot more. We know that this number isn't a rigid law. It shifts a little based on your age, your gender, and even the time of day. But generally speaking, it stays in that tight pocket. We've realized that 98.6 is the sweet spot for our biology. If you drift even a few degrees off that baseline, things get scary fast. For example, we can't handle hitting 104 degrees for long. Why? Because of our enzymes. These are the little biological workers that keep our organs functioning, and they are designed to operate strictly around 98 degrees. If you get too hot, say 3 or 4 degrees higher, those enzymes start to break down. They are proteins, and just like an egg white solidifies in a frying pan, proteins in your body denature. They lose their structure when it gets too hot. On the flip side, we can't drop below 95 degrees either. Your VIP organs, the heart and the brain, demand that 98-degree warmth to function. If they get too cold, electrical signals slow down and the system crashes. But here is the coolest part. That 98.6-degree baseline, it's also a fortress. It turns out that this specific temperature is a terrible environment for most fungi and bacteria to grow. If our bodies were cooler, we'd be a playground for mold. If we were hotter, we'd burn too much energy. So 98.6 is the Goldilocks zone, hot enough to kill bugs, but cool enough to sustain our metabolism. This brings us to a massive realization. Our bodies are fighters. We are constantly battling to keep that internal number stable, regardless of what the weather is doing. This is what makes us warm-blooded creatures, or endotherms, unlike cold-blooded animals like lizards or fish, who are basically at the mercy of the elements we generate our own heat. If a lizard is cold, it has to go sit on a hot rock. If it's hot, it has to hide in the shade. It takes zero effort for them. But for us, we are burning calories 24/7 to keep the furnace running. So where is the problem? Why does this matter? Because your body's number one priority is stability. There is a constant war between your internal heat and the external air. Let's look at a hot day. When the sun is blazing, your body goes into panic mode to drag your temperature back down to 98.6. Thermoreceptors all over your skin sense the heat and scream at your brain, "Hey, we're cooking out here." Your brain, specifically a control center called the the hypothalamus, acts like a thermostat. It sends an immediate order: cool down, now. First, it triggers the sweat glands. We start dripping wet. The idea is that when sweat evaporates off your skin, it takes some heat energy with it, cooling you down. At the same time, your blood vessels dilate. They get wider. This pushes hot blood from your core out to the surface of your skin, acting like a radiator to dump heat into the air. The same thing happens in reverse when it's freezing. The brain realizes you're losing heat, so it triggers shivering. Shivering is just your muscles vibrating rapidly to generate friction and heat. Your blood vessels constrict, pulling warm blood away from your skin and keeping it deep inside to protect your heart and lungs. It's an incredibly complex, energy-expensive system. Now, let's circle back to the paradox. Studies suggest that the perfect outdoor temperature for humans is actually around 77 degrees Fahrenheit, about 25 Celsius. Why 77? Because at that temperature, your body is in thermal equilibrium. You don't need to sweat to cool off, and you don't need to shiver to warm up. 77 degrees outside is the perfect partner for 98 degrees inside. It's effortless. But here is the kicker and the answer to our big question. Why does 98 degrees outside feel awful if we are 98 degrees inside? It comes down to physics. Heat always moves from a hot place to a cold place. For your body's cooling system to work, for that radiator to dump heat the air outside must be cooler than your blood. When it's 98 degrees outside and you are 98 degrees inside, the temperature is equal. There is no gradient. Your body heat has nowhere to go. It's like trying to pour water into a cup that's already full. The heat gets trapped inside you. Imagine you have a cup of hot coffee. If you leave it in a cold room, the heat escapes into the air and the coffee cools down. But if you put that hot coffee in an oven set to the exact same temperature, it stays hot forever. That is what's happening to you. When the air matches your body temp, your internal engine keeps generating heat, but that heat is stuck. Your cooling mechanisms fail. Your heart starts pounding faster to try and force blood to the skin, but it doesn't help. You sweat, but it doesn't cool you effectively because the air is already hot. And if you add humidity to the mix, game over. High humidity means the air is already full of water vapor. So even if you sweat buckets, that sweat can't evaporate. It just sits on your skin, boiling you in your own juices. That is why a dry 98 degrees is tolerable, but a humid 90 degrees feels like death. So, simply put, we feel miserable when it's 98 degrees outside because our bodies lose the ability to dump our waste heat. We become trapped in our own thermal energy. And that is a wrap on today's mystery. Who made it all the way to the end? If you're still listening, you are the real MVPs. Smash that like button so I know how many of you stuck around. And hey, if you have a burning question that keeps you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., drop it in the comments below. We might just answer it in the next video. Peace.